This week on Pop of Culture, a local exhibition,
a local potter,
and a local digital mandala painter.
Oh my.
And then once I finish drawing them, then I get the colors palette. I don't know what colors. People ask me a lot, they're like, oh, how do you plan that out? I'm like, I don't. That's not a plan. That is the opposite of a plan.
That's coming up on this encore edition of Pop of Culture.
Support for Pop of Culture comes from you. You've probably heard that Congress has defunded public media. For Ball State Public Media, that's 40% of our funding, about $1.4 million. So if you value this program, created by and focused on folks in your community, then now's the time to step up. This show will not exist without you. Become a monthly donor now at indianapublicradio.org.
From IPR, this is Pop of Culture. I'm Kara DuQuette.
And I'm Jen Blackmer. This week, we're celebrating how public radio brings us closer to our community.
And we'll be listening back to some of our favorite pieces from Season 2 so far. Like the time we went to the forest.
Kind of. Pop of Culture on the road this week, and we're here at Minnetrista Museum and Gardens. And even though it's afternoon, it's also nighttime. Yeah, we are here in the exhibit Goodnight Forest, and I'm here with my new friend Max. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Max Fetchenhauer. I'm the Daily Experience Manager here at Minnetrista Museum and Gardens.
Excellent. And Max is going to take us on a tour. Now, before we go any further, it looks like I have to pack a bag.
Yes,
Yes,
you do.
in order to experience the Goodnight Forest exhibit. So we have here some maps.
Going into the forest, you have to be prepared. When you're going into the forest, the best thing to have is a backpack packed and
Absolutely,
ready.
yes.
So we have a few maps over here that can kind of lead you through the forest. We
So
have a few guides.
Gonna grab my backpack. Here we go. Put a map inside and a children's animal guide.
We have an animal
Put that in
guide.
there.
Here we go.
Let's see what else we have over here.
here.
A compass, that's important.
You can get a compass. You can also get a handkerchief to wear while
Okay,
you're in the
great.
forest.
And
most
a
importantly,
flashlight.
it is nighttime, so you'll want a flashlight.
All right, shall we?
Let's go.
Let's go explore. So the first thing I'd like to know is can you give me a little bit of information about just the exhibit as a whole, what inspired the exhibit, and why Night Forest?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of my favorite things about this exhibition is how family focused it is. And by families, we really do mean families, like kids and adults.
Yeah.
I myself am an adult, and I love this exhibition.
I know. And as soon as I walked in, I'm like, I just kind of want to jump and play. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great, and it's so cozy. And one of my favorite things about this exhibition is just how physical it is. There are things to interact and play with pretty much everywhere you look in here, whether it's right as soon as you walk in and you see the campfire right in front of you where you can roast a marshmallow or a hot dog, or even if you want to go do some shadow puppets in the tents, which is super fun. I know a lot of the guides on the guide team here have been loving to do shadow puppet shows. We even have printed out some campfire stories and some campfire songs to sing along with guests while they're in here.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So the first thing I noticed when I walked in, so you mentioned the campfire, which is incredibly inviting. The food is not real. It is very tactile, but it's not real. That could be very sticky with marshmallows, right? So, but the other thing that really caught my attention is this first thing here on the left when you come in here, which is called Firefly Meadow. Yeah, and this is where radio, I don't think, does it justice, right? Explain what is happening here.
I sure can. I'm glad you brought this up because this is my favorite part of this exhibition.
I think it's probably mine too.
The way this works is this is an interactive game for kids. As you can see, the floor is lighting up with many LED lights of different colors, but we have these little clusters that are lighting up around here. And what happens is you want to jump on them, and then you'll see a little flash of light, and that cluster will move along the board, and you want to follow it along the way. So I can show it, I can demonstrate it for you guys right now. So we'll do it on this one. Hear a little ding, and it moves over
gosh.
there. And now you got to move over to this one.
It's kind of like hopscotch, sort of, but oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I can say that I play on this all the time with the guide team here.
Sure.
At least once a day while we're open. And me and the guides have definitely found a few hidden Easter eggs that you will have to discover with play.
Okay.
On the Firefly Meadow.
All right, yes. All right, moving over here, we have the caretaker's hut on this side of our forest adventure.
Yes.
And we have some animals, lots of information about animals. So it looks like this is a place where you can come and do some science and some exploration, yeah?
Yeah, so this is, like I said, this is a family exhibition. This is also, we try to focus on a lot of educational parts of our exhibitions as well. So if you look through here, we have all sorts of, we have animals, we have recreations of different skulls from different animals that you can look at, as well as over here you can look at more taxidermy animals. We have little cards that have, you know, fun facts about different animals. So this talks about owl talons and about how owl talons are sharp so they can grab and carry up to 3 times their body weight, which is pretty heavy. So this looks like it's the owl deck, but we also have some stuff about like raccoons.
And these are all animals that they could potentially see at nighttime around here.
At home.
We have an owl family that lives in the woods behind our house, as well as many fireflies. And so it's really great to see some owl representation here going on.
Awesome.
Excellent. And then, of course, we have the woodland scat chart.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
They do. We have a few models of woodland scat as well over here, if you look, which kids find very entertaining.
I can imagine they do.
It's good to know, because maybe sometimes you can find some woodland scat in your backyard, and maybe you'll find out what's living near you.
And then finally, in this part of the exhibit, we have 2 tents, Starry Night Campsite, and inside it looks like you can do shadow puppets.
You can.
How fun!
You can. And I'd be more. I'll show you in this tent over here. So if you can just crawl in over here. And you don't have to be.
Oh, check it.
The one thing I do love about these shadow puppets is you don't have to be like skilled to like, you know, make like a dog or anything. We make it very accessible.
Wonderful.
And we have these guys right here.
Does that look like a monkey? I think that's a monkey.
This is actually a mouse.
A mouse. All I saw was the big tail.
But you're close. You're close.
No worries.
But
it's a good thing I'm not being quizzed on this. Now that I know that is a beaver. Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How fun is this?
You learn something new in every single one of our exhibitions.
Yes, you do.
With our shadow puppets, we also have different books. So this one's all about walking around with a flashlight in the woods. And looking for critters, kind of something similar to what you're doing in here.
Of course.
So we always invite guests to come in here, have a cozy time, and we have
there's
pillows
to relax, and then there's a whole basket full of books.
We even have a little instructional booklet on how to do shadow puppets. So let's see if I can do. Dog one looks the easiest.
Yep, that's a dog right there.
Right
Nicely
there.
done, Max. Great job.
And so that's one thing. While it's fun to have an instructional booklet to show kids how to do it, it also just makes the exhibit that much more accessible to people.
Totally. And then I'm sure kids are making up their own shadow animals and stories as you go. That's pretty great. Now you mentioned that there's a book, Things to Do with a Flashlight. We're actually going to put some of that stuff into practice here next in the next room. So at the beginning, we were told that we needed a flashlight, right?
Yep.
And so here's where that's going to be super important.
One of the biggest things that I really like about this exhibition is it's all about overcoming your fear of the dark for kids.
Okay.
And that's what this whole second gallery is about.
Excellent.
That's the reason why we have these flashlights.
Amazing. And there's some footsteps that we're supposed to follow, so let's follow them.
Come this way.
Okay, this is called Twilight Trail, and it is dark.
Yeah, it is the darkest part of the forest. If you just stumbled in here and you didn't know this is part of the exhibition, you'd probably think we're closed in here because it is so dark. But you can turn your flashlights on.
Okay.
And you can search. So we have some more taxidermied animals that you can look at. We have a whole owl case.
Oh, look at that. It's my friend the possum. Possums are great, actually.
They're really nice.
They're really great.
We have a case of owls over here. And one of my favorite things that we have in here is we have interactive elements that are triggered by the light from your flashlight.
Wow.
So if you follow over here, we have all sorts of cardboard cutouts of animals, or not cardboard, wooden cutouts of animals. And we have some of them, like these rabbits over here. If you shine your flashlight on them, see if we can get it to work. They'll actually duck and hide from the light.
Gosh, how awesome.
And if you keep it lit for a little bit, you might see them peek back out to see if they're safe. And they are.
Look at that.
And they hide again. Over here we.
And I see some raccoons. Here's a little shrew. Ah.
It's very, very cute and very fun.
And I do want to mention that this is an Indiana artist created these pieces, right? So that it has a sort of a hand-drawn, hand-painted kind of feel to it, which is awesome.
Her name is Penelope Dulligan.
Yeah.
She is the artist.
It feels like you're inside a storybook, actually. Yeah.
It does.
Great.
And one of my favorite things about this is you can only find this if you're like just looking for it and like trying to discover things, which it really encourages that curiosity and imagination that like the kids that we want in this exhibit to have.
Excellent.
We have more things, like we have a light over here. If you shine your flashlight on it,
Oh yeah, it lights
it's a little
up.
brighter.
Excellent.
We have a board over here that kind of explains like reflective eyes that animals have.
And you can guess what kind of an animal. Look at that. There's an owl. Yeah.
Then we have more animals over here that will make noises if you shine your light on them. So we have, let's see, I think that the badger is the funniest.
Of course it is.
See if we can get him to. Yeah, there he is.
I think I heard that in the woods the other day, so now I know what it is.
We also have frog should make a noise. And not all of these animals have sensors in them, so it's again kind of that sense of discovery when you find one that works.
And there's a beautiful sort of moon that kind of gives some illumination, but a gorgeous sort of glow.
And this projection does work through all of the moon phases as well. So right now it's pretty bright in here, relatively speaking. All the lights are off except for that moon because it is a full moon right now. So this is the brightest it'll be in this room without flashlights.
Yeah. Well, this is an incredible experience, and it reminds me again of how sort of collaborative this whole thing is, right? You have sight and sound and immersion, and it's just this glorious kind of interactive, immersive feel to it, right?
Yeah.
And all types of different artists are at work here. You have sound artists, you have the visual aspect of it, and the experience is you can it's guided, you said. So when you come in, you have guides working with you, or
all of our experiences here are self-led, although we we will have a guide stationed in here to help you pack that bag and get you set on their way, and they're always here for to be a helping hand if you have any questions.
But part of it is just to let the visitors kind of explore the forest at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And luckily, this exhibition is going to be here a while. The last day it'll be here is November 2nd of this year.
All right.
So you still got a good amount of time to come here and check it out.
And it has the feel of a balmy summer night. So as fall begins to hit, and if we start getting a little, little nostalgic for summer, we can come experience forest at night. That's awesome. Thanks, Max.
Of course.
Goodnight Forest is open through November 2nd.
You're listening to Pop of Culture. I'm Kara DuQuette.
And I'm Jen Blackmer. One of the things we love about doing this show is sitting down with longtime artists to hear their stories.
Like local pottery legend John Peterson. He's been on the scene for about 50 years. Thank you so much for being here, John.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Can you tell us how you got into making pottery?
I was lucky enough to have a high school art teacher in Skokie, Illinois, who had been a Ball State graduate and a ceramic enthusiast. So I was I think a junior in high school when myself and some of my friends started taking art classes, and there was a potter's wheel and lots of clay, so that was my introduction. I bought a potter's wheel when I was a senior in high school, and it was kind of my summer activity with Bob Stein, my good friend. We both were making pots, and I had a garage in a little neighborhood. We turned into a studio, and spent the summer, making pots and being artistic.
Now, so you really liked it since you bought a wheel. Did you then build a kiln?
No, we never had a kiln. We didn't think that far ahead. We were happy just making things. I remember we took some of the pots over to the high school next door, New Trier High School. There was a sympathetic art teacher there that fired some of our work during the summer. And, at that age, things just kind of transpire, and I don't know what happened to all those things or not, but they, we were full of enthusiasm,
And then you brought that enthusiasm to Indiana at some
right.
point.
Pete Carr was my high school art teacher. He had graduated from Ball State, and suggested that I come to Ball State. And Marvin Reichel was his instructor, and Marvin Reichel was the man that kind of started the ceramics department at Ball State. So one day I got in my car and drove to Muncie, Indiana, and been here ever since. So, and I came to Ball State, and at the time we were on the quarter system. There wasn't a ceramics major, and so you could only take one ceramics class a year. It was a little discouraging for me because I was, ready to go. And Ball State was the teacher's college, and Marvin Reichel was a dedicated teacher of teachers. And he should get a lot of credit for that because he sent a lot of people out into teaching, with a lot of knowledge. But I was wanting to be a potter. And I think the summer of '66, Bob Stein, who was my high school friend, had been going to a craft school which had summer programs in Deer Isle, Maine, called Haystack. And he said, "John, you've got to, apply and see if we can both go this next year." So that summer, it was just kind of the renaissance of studio, American studio potters. Up until that point, there were, college instructors and industrial potteries. Very few, studio art potters. It had started to happen already, but I went to Haystack, and here were all these people that were kind of doing it. And then came back to Ball State, and, little, like I say, antsy to get my own studio going. So I never did finish at Ball State.
Mm-hmm. So then you began your studio.
Well, there's a lot of kind of off and on. I was at Ball State, and then I'd take some time off and go back to Chicago for a little while and back and forth. And I met Alan Patrick, who was a year or so ahead of me, and he was interested in making pots, being a studio potter. Ran into Dave Caton, who is a print teacher and also kind of a potter at Ball State, who had a little house on Tillotson Avenue, close to right by Bethel and Tillotson. And we started making some pots in his basement. There was an opportunity to have a little show at the ball home. How that happened, I don't know. But so we got some pots together and needed a name and called it the Bethel Pike Pottery because we were kind of close to Bethel Pike and in that kind of British tradition of naming you after the town or the road you're on. So that was the beginnings of the Bethel Pike Pottery. Alan and myself's kind of aim stayed the same. We wanted to start something. And we found his wife, Diane Patrick, found an ad in the paper that said, park-like, these little cottages, park-like setting out between Muncie and Albany. And they're like 3 acres. A man in the 40s and the 50s had built, 3 little summer cottages, concrete block little summer cottages. I still don't understand the inspiration for the whole thing, but and he sold wholesale office furniture. Had worked for A.E. Boyce in the 20s on the interurban, riding around selling office furniture. Had a little office in the Friend Building downtown. McGrinley McCann was a real kind of a Muncie character. And he had this little piece of property and would build these little cottages. He had a bigger building that he, raised dogs and had all kinds of things. But there were 3 houses and a big studio space, and then a 4-car garage, which was another big studio. So Diane saw this ad in the paper, and we went out and looked at it and thought, this is just what we need. And he, in 1967, we bought the property.
Wow, so you were a solid member of the 1960s crafts movement.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and full of enthusiasm, and we bought this place on contract. It was affordable.
Now, what inspires you to continue potting over time? You talked about the importance of Marvin Reichel in your life and his teachers. Is that why you became a teacher? I think so. Everything that I did, I can go back and find a connection to Marvin. Mm-hmm. Marvin was he taught lifestyle as much as he taught art. He did a lot of work on his house, had beautiful gardens, had every element of his life, had an aesthetic that he pursued. So I think that's the kind of thing I like to teach. Is to have an artistic life. Mm-hmm. And then everything kind of falls into place after that. I can see that from I've had the pleasure of going out and seeing the space that you're talking about, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming spring sale?
Well, we have probably the 50th, spring open house. Wow. And backtrack a little bit, because Alan and I started the Bethel Pottery, and then, about 4 or 5 years into it, we split it up because he had a certain direction he wanted to go, and I had a little different direction. Alan was more interested in wholesaling, so he, that was a bigger part of his business, and I was going to art fairs and selling retail. So we'd always had a spring show, and after we split up, I think we kind of missed a few years, but then I started having a spring show again. And about 20 years ago, we had some friends that wanted to take classes, and I was giving some classes to some people in my studio. And so we kind of expanded that. So now we have about 15 people. Some of them have been coming for 20 years. And the school is loosely a school. It's more like a clay club, and some wonderful people and some very, very good potters. And some of these people have their own studios too. So we started having the students sell their work at the spring show in the school. And then I have my work in my studio. So.
And Alan, is he still on the property?
Yeah, it's still on the property. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the commune became.
And Alan quit making pots about 15 years ago. Mm. And he was always a painter in school. So he just continued. Now he's a painter.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So the June 7th and 8th, we have our open house. We have the students' work. There's 15 students. And we have my work. We have some music. We have some kind of a clay Olympics, if you'd like, where you can have.
Tell.
You can challenge other people. The kids can make a pot or two if they want, and there's some food out there probably, and it's a nice event. It's a great event.
I saw Ron Rich Creek showing
some children how to pot.
Yeah.
But now what's this Olympics? What do you mean you can challenge people? In what way?
We had who can throw the tallest cylinder?
Oh.
Who can pull the longest handle and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to know, how do you balance your form and functionality when you create pots?
I started out doing, functional wear, utilitarian wear, and still do. I think that's just my nature. That's more satisfying to me, is to make something that people can use. And because I use my pots, so I have an everyday experience testing everything I make. And, hopefully people will have to get the same feeling out of these pieces that I get. And I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I ask you that because you make such beautiful things, but it's very clear that you can utilize them.
Yeah.
And
and there's a great tradition of functional pottery, and I like all avenues of ceramics. I appreciate it and enjoy it, but this is my thing. So.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your pottery or your art?
I'm 80 years old this year.
Wow.
And
Congrats.
so, we're starting to think about winding down a little bit, maybe. I used to do 12, 15 art fairs all around the country every year. And so the teaching classes kind of augmented that part of my income. I'm kind of a little bit of a dinosaur, and starting probably 15 years ago with the internet, online exposure. And if I was a potter starting today, that would probably be where I would start. Because there's a lot of people that sell work online all over the world, and to be connected, there's different connections that you have to make now than when I started.
Well, and you made them by going places.
Yeah, we started having shows out of this. Well, we were students, so we had a community of friends, from Ball State, and I've got a mailing list of around 800 people, and if you look through it, a lot of them are older, So actually, Renee Petrie, my daughter, lives in California, and probably 7 or 8 years ago. She started helping me get on Facebook and kind of updating my way of exposure. And we did, made a big difference for the shows. We started drawing younger people, and people that are, building a household are the people that buy pots, There's the conversation of, all the old friends that say, we love your pots. We have lots of them, So you need to keep getting new people.
Well, I'm glad that you're doing that and adapting, and that you brought the movement here, and it continues.
Yeah.
It continues.
Okay, it continues. Yeah.
Thank you so much, John.
Yeah. I've got we all kind of, after years and years and years of doing something, it's hard to see how people see you, and it's hard to kind of accept that people see you as the the master or the senior person,
Oh yeah, because you're as old as you feel, right?
Right, and you never expect that.
No,
but I'm glad I've been able to inspire some people. So.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Kara.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
John Peterson is a local potter. We spoke to him in May.
It's the time of the show where we ask a local artist, what are you working on? This week, we revisit our conversation with multimedia artist Stephen M Millben II.
He is the manager of and lead designer at Screen Broidery, located in the Village in Muncie for over 15 years. and he is also a well-known local visual artist. Steve, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Of course. How did you get into making art initially?
Oh, it's funny. I was on live last night and somebody asked me that exact question. And my answer was, I was born into it.
Okay.
I have made art as long as I can possibly remember. My dad was an artist. My grandmother's an artist. My sister's an artist. My cousin's an artist. So it's in the blood. I mean, okay, funny thing. I have made art out of just about every substance you can possibly think of that you can get your hands on. If there's dust on a window, I'll probably draw a picture in it.
Okay.
I've drawn in dirt. I've made images out of rocks. I like to carve things. I carved a little man in the middle of the jungle waiting on a tram to pick us up from a stop that was 6 hours away from any civilization, just sitting on a stump under a palm tree, carving a piece of wood, and carved it. And when I was done with it, one of the locals asked me for it, and he put a hole in it and put it on a necklace. So I'm surprised I'm not doing it right now. I'm trying not to. So that's why I turned my iPad off so I wouldn't draw, because otherwise I'd be sitting here like.
You are totally welcome to do that. I understand. So it's kind of like a constant kinetic endeavor for you.
There's, there's certain things that you just do in your life, like because you want to. That's how you move. So you do those things on a regular. That's how I can't help it. Like I told people, I'd go live every night. I go live every night at 9 p.m. on TikTok.
Oh.
I told people I was doing that way before TikTok. Just nobody could see it. So it wasn't like I decided, I'm going to start drawing every night. Like, no, I was always drawing every night. You just didn't see it. I just found a way to show it to other people. But I was going to do that regardless.
And you share it with those on TikTok?
I work on a lot of these on TikTok. This is where I work on them now. And it's gotten my workflow faster. So I used to make what I call urban mandalas.
Oh, okay.
They're basically doodles that I just decided to doodle in one place and repeat it. So it became a mandala.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit more about the mandala? Because it's hard for me to rectify in my mind the idea of that with a doodle.
Got it. No, I completely understand. So basically the way it works is I'm going to give you a visual representation. It'll help. I'll actually show you the one I'm working on right now, or I just finished.
Please.
Literally just finished this one yesterday.
Amazing.
So basically what I do is I start in the middle and I just doodle whatever pops in my head. That's what I make. And
With
I just keep
precision,
adding them together and pieces on top of pieces until you get that. And then once I finish drawing them, then I get the colors palette. I don't know what colors. People ask me a lot. They're like, "Oh, how do you plan that out?" I'm like, I don't. That's not a plan. That is the opposite of a plan. That right there is what happens when I don't plan. When I just sit down in front of my iPad and make something, that's what I make. And that took me 15 days from start to finish.
Well, there's a lot of vivid colors, and some people are probably familiar with the tradition of mandala, but what makes it an urban mandala?
Because it's not just, so mandalas have a very, I wouldn't say a strict structure, but they have certain things about mandalas that you see. The flowers, the lotus blossoms, the filigree, a lot of the little things that they put into stuff like that. Mine are like my old 74 Coupe de Ville, a pair of roller skates, the beach ball we were playing with yesterday. They're also very timeline. So you can actually look at them. I can look at one, like I have a painting. I started on the eclipse last year. I started that day. So it starts with a giant black circle. And then there's a ring of color around it. And then the mandala goes out from there. So there's bits of time. You guys are going to end up in a mandala. So IPR will end up in a mandala probably tonight or tomorrow, just because this is where I was today. So that will be a thing. So that is how those come along. They're very urban. They're just made up of not traditional shapes, but actual things.
I like that. I like that there's some universal themes that people can, shared experiences that people can see in them. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about some of the things you're going to do with these mandalas. Can you tell us about that?
So right now, like on my website, they're available. So I have the originals, which are the biggest of them all. They're anywhere from 30 by 30 to like 40 by 40. So they're really big. Wow. I only have a couple of those right now because people haven't really asked for them yet. And I hadn't figured out how I wanted to do it. But I'm also doing screensaver, so screen packs. So it's just a mandala for the background. So I'm working on those. I'm working on a coloring book.
Oh, what's that about?
It'll be these, just with no color.
Okay. And you also mentioned painting. What are you painting these days?
You know what? I go back and forth. Me and painting have a love-hate relationship. I enjoy it, but it's one of those things that you have to plan. You have to make sure you have all the colors. You have to make sure you have your canvas, make sure you have all this stuff together. So I don't do it often because it's just like, I got to set up again. So I do a lot of micro paintings. So when I show like at First Thursday and when even in my shop, I have them, I do like 3 by 3 square acrylics, like little small paintings. I have a few larger ones in the shop, but I haven't done any real big paintings lately, but I've gessoed a few canvases just in case.
It's funny. People's perceptions are so different because you say, oh, I do the 3 by 3 micro paintings as if that's super easy.
Well,
I'm just saying, you know.
Well, no, and it's funny because I know somebody who makes even smaller ones. They do them on quarters and dimes.
I feel like,
and I look at it like, oh, see, no, I can't. That's too much detail. Look, that's too much detail for me. I can't do all that. That's ridiculous. Who would sit down and do that much detail?
Gotta have some patience. Yeah. So can you tell us where we can find your art and see you about town and online?
I'm always at my shop. I'm like the Italian mafia. I'd sit on the corner and I don't go anywhere. Everybody comes to me. So I'm always on the corner. I'm always in the village every day, 10 to 6 at the shop. I do a lot of these paintings in there as well, like after hours and stuff like that. Online, boondocksinc.art.com. All of my socials are Boondocks Inc. So I'm
so glad that you are part of the Muncie arts community and very much appreciate you chatting with us today.
Man, I love it. This is my first podcast, by the way, just so you know. So,
well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We do too. Hey, Jen.
Hey, what?
It's time for the weekly arts calendar.
Excellent. My favorite time. Let's do it.
Friday, September 26th is another Food Truck Friday at the Ivy Tech building in downtown Muncie. The truck will be parked from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 345 South High Street. This week is Los Amores from Marion.
Sounds like lunch to me. All right, Saturday, September 27th is the 4th annual Munich to Muncie Oktoberfest. There's something for everyone at this 21-plus event, including craft brews, Indiana wine, non-alcoholic tasty beverages, and lots of food vendors. This year's edition is at the Yard in Muncie, and more information can be found at destinationmuncie.org.
I love an Oktoberfest.
Who doesn't, man? Next weekend at Muncie Civic's main stage is a mystery. Well, I know, it's a mystery on stage. The Da Vinci Code opens October 3rd. This stage adaptation of Dan Brown's best-selling novel follows Professor Robert Langdon in a race against time to uncover hidden secrets buried within famous works of art and religious history. Showtimes and information for both shows are at munciecivic.org.
And this weekend, an outdoor performance at the Brown Family Amphitheater on Ball State's campus. It's Romeo and Juliet. The classic Shakespearean tale has been set in the contemporary world, but still follows two star-crossed lovers as they fight to write their own love story. This special show is open to the public and goes on September 26th, 27th, and 28th. All shows are at 7:30 p.m.
All right. Starting this weekend, return to the Pumpkin Patch of Peril and other spooky, not scary spectacles at Harvest Nights at Newfields. Now in its 6th season, Harvest Nights runs through November 2nd, and tickets are at discovernewfields.org.
Tuesday, September 30th at 7 p.m. at the Honeywell House in Wabash is Surviving the Holocaust, a special talk from Holocaust survivor Irene Miller. She will share her personal story of survival, a powerful journey featured in the PBS documentary Irene, Child of the Holocaust, and also detailed in her book Into No Man's Land, a historical memoir. Reservations are required due to limited seating. HoneywellArts.org.
I've heard her speak. It's very powerful, very powerful.
And of course, next Thursday is the October special edition of the Muncie Arts Walk. Celebrate the arts culture in Muncie with local artists and arts vendors at Yart, and a special display of custom utility covers designed by and cast by local artisan Aaron Nichols, and the return of the Soup Crawl.
Soup Crawl and soup season, my favorite season. Do you have a cultural event, soup or not, that we should know about? Walk your fingers over the keyboard to indianapublicradio.org/contact and then select Pop of Culture.
Support for Pop of Culture comes from you. You've probably heard that Congress has defunded public media. For Ball State Public Media, that's 40% of our funding, about $1.4 million. So if you value this program, created by and focused on folks in your community, then now's the time to step up. This show will not exist without you. Become a monthly donor now at indianapublicradio.org.
And that's our show. Our executive producer is Angie Rapp. This week was produced by Luke Jones, whose next producing project will be a full night's sleep. Our show was hosted by me, Jen Blackmer.
And me, Kara DuQuette. Pop of Culture is a production from the entire team at IPR, produced with the support from listeners like you who became sustaining members.